Good evening, everyone. When our play for this evening, Sidney Kingsley's Men in White, was first seen on the stage, it was dedicated to the men in medicine who dedicate themselves with quiet heroism to man. Tonight, you'll hear Burgess Meredith as Dr. Ferguson and Marcia Hunt as Laura. Augusta Dabney as Barbara Denham and Herbert Berghoff as Dr. Hochberg will be featured. And now, the curtain rises on the Theater Guild's presentation of Men in White.
We will walk the streets now in the late afternoon, when the wind blows cold from the river, when night slips its noose over the city, and the afternoon slowly succumbs to the anesthetic of darkness. We will walk the streets seeking the familiar building and come upon it suddenly. This building, this heart of the city, beating in the darkness, this place where courage burns in the windows, this tragic and beautiful sanctuary, this hospital.
There's a strange and familiar sound, my own footsteps on the corridor as I enter this familiar place.
Afternoon, Dr. Ferguson.
Past the reception desk, the old men huddled on benches in the clinic, the acid smell of iodine and antiseptic, the hushed voices.
How is he, Dr. Ferguson? Is he going to be all right?
Walk the long corridor past the wards where each bed swims like an island in a sea of loneliness, and the voices, the anxious voices.
Doctor, please.
Walk the corridor and enter this room warm with its books and medical journals, where the hospital staff gathers for a cigarette and a casual word. My colleagues, the doctors, men of science and gentleness, the doctors bound by our ancient oath, no word changed in the fire of 2,000 years. I swear by Apollo the physician that this mine oath I will fulfill as far as power and discernment shall be mine. I will carry out regimen for the benefit of the sick, and I will keep them from harm and wrong. To none will I give a deadly drug, even if solicited. I guess you were right about that technique, Dr. Hochberg. I've been checking the surgery records, and the first 45 cases seem to bear you out.
So, in a month, you'll be ready to write the paper. Your first published work, Ferguson. From a young squirt of an intern, no less. By the way, how's that gastric ulcer on the third floor?
It's pretty restless during the night. She feels better now.
Good. And Ward B, that nice compound fracture?
Fine. He asked for a drink of whiskey.
He'll be all right.
He is all right. I gave him the drink. It's a new school of therapy.
Won't hurt him. Oh, I passed a big black convertible on my way in. Girl sitting in it. Most interesting nose, excellent bone structure.
Laura?
She said she was waiting to pick you up.
Well, I won't get off till 6. That's 15 minutes to go. She's early.
When a woman like that will sit and wait for you, Ferguson, even when an intern's pay, you're a rich man.
Dr. Hochberg.
Yes? Why, Levine, my dear Levine. Dr. Ferguson, Dr. Levine.
How do you do?
Tell me, how is your wife? How's Catherine?
Not so well. Her lungs. She has a slight persistent cough. I've got some x-rays here. I came to have you look at them.
Let me see. George, what do you think?
Well, that shadow there, the right apex. Is that it, Doctor?
Yes, I was afraid.
Have you examined the sputum?
I brought a specimen. My microscope is broken.
We'll look at it here.
Certainly, I'll have the path lab check up on this.
Thanks, Dr. Ferguson. Do you think if I came back this evening, I'd...
Oh, yes, the report will be ready then, Doctor.
George, here's one of our prize young men.
Oh, and does Hochberg want you to go on studying, Dr. Ferguson?
Yes, I'm going to study under Von Eisen in San Francisco.
Oh, Von Eisen's a good man.
And after a year in San Francisco, I'll be back here to work with Dr. Hochberg. That's when the real labor begins.
Oh, I'll drive you, George. With a whip, huh?
Yes, sir. Well, now, don't you worry about this specimen, Dr. Levine. I'll take care of it.
Thank you. And remember, there's only one Hochberg. Every minute with him is precious.
Don't be such a stranger, Levine. Come and see us.
I will. Goodbye. Glad to have met you, Dr. Ferguson.
Goodbye, sir.
I forgot to tell you, I took a look at that leukemia case. He's a mighty sick boy. He may need another transfusion.
Superficial veins are all thrombosed. You'll have to go pretty deep to find a good one.
That's what I'm worried about. If it comes up tonight, I want you to be here to do it.
Tonight? No, tonight's my night out, Doctor. Laura's made arrangements. I'm afraid I can't be here.
I know I'm imposing, George, but I want this boy to have every possible chance. He's a sick boy. You've followed the case from the start. You know the veins we've used. Well, what do you say?
Well, very well, sir. I'll stay. I'll get one of the interns to cover me for half an hour. Give me a chance to go out and tell Laura.
All right.
Dr. Ferguson.
Yes, nurse.
A woman just came in on emergency with a lacerated throat. She's bleeding. We can't stop
Get her
her.
to the operating room fast. Dr. Hartwell, do me a favor. Go out and tell Laura I can't make it for a while. Please to wait for me. Tell her it's emergency.
I'll tell her.
All right, nurse. Let's go.
Laura? Hello, Liebchen.
Hello, Hockey. Where's George?
What's the matter? One man at a time isn't enough for you? When you were 10 years old, you told me you loved me. A few hairs less, and all of a sudden I'm an outcast.
You're as beautiful as ever, Hockey. I'm just a little burned up, that's all. I've been waiting for that Ferguson man almost 2 hours.
It's my fault. I should have come out sooner. I got tied up. Laura, I want to talk to you. A minute?
Sure, hop in the car. What do you mean you should have come out? Where is George?
She asked me to tell you he's working.
Oh,
It's an emergency.
it's always an emergency.
He's a doctor.
I know, that covers everything. I have a fiancé, and I don't see him from 1 week to the next. Naturally, he's a doctor.
The harder he works, the more he learns. The next 5 years are crucial in George's life, Laura. They'll tell whether he becomes an important man or not.
We've gone through this 100 times, Hockey. Let's not go through it again.
Hello, darling. Sorry I'm late. That emergency hockey, I throwed up her throat. I gave her plasma.
Oh.
Laura, where'd you get that hat? Looks like an oxygen tent.
Oh, no.
Oh, you look beautiful, doesn't she, Dr. Hopworth?
She looks all right.
I'll kill that man.
You should have seen the brat when I delivered her. Well, let's go for a nice ride. The three of us.
Hockey?
All right, if that's the way you feel. Now get in, my boy.
Yes.
Goodbye, Liebchen. See you, George.
So long, Hockey.
Darling.
Laura. Hello.
Hello.
Let's get away from here, away from this noise. Let's drive down to the docks, down to the river someplace.
Oh, you look so tired. Well, tonight all you have to do is just sit back. I've waited for this a long time. We're going to drive out in the country.
Laura.
And what?
Laura, let's get out of here, please. Now, let's get out of here. It's nice here. There's something about a harbor, the smell of the ocean. It's clean. I like the boat whistles, the sound.
Turn around. Let me look at you. Hey, you're getting thin.
I didn't sleep much last night.
You know, you've spoiled everything for me. I don't seem to get a kick out of life anymore unless you're around, and that's not very often.
Darling, we'll make up for it later on, honestly.
I don't know if we can, George. You see, dear, it's the way I feel. If I had every minute from now on, I'd still with you, do you know?
Laura,
Put your head back. Close your eyes. Oh, I wish I'd lived all my life with you. I wish I'd played those new streets with you.
I'm glad you missed those streets. They were ordinary and gloomy. They might have touched you and changed you. When I look at you, Laura, about 7 months ago, there was a boy here who had been blind from birth. We operated on him successfully, and one night I showed him the stars for the first time. He looked at them a minute, and then he began to cry, because he said they were lovely, and he might never have seen them. When I look at you, Laura, that's how I feel.
That sound. That beautiful sound. And the whole night ahead of us.
Laura, I have some bad news. Now, you won't be upset, will you?
Why?
I can't make it tonight. I have to stay in.
Again?
Well, I'm sorry. I tried to duck out of it, but I couldn't. There's a transfusion I have to
Oh,
do.
what time? I'll wait.
No, you better not. It depends on the patient. I've just got to be around and ready.
Are you the only one who can do that transfusion?
Dr. Hochberg seems to think I am.
Oh, I was planning so much on tonight.
Don't you think I was, Laura? All week I've been looking forward to it.
Oh, it's not just tonight. It's all the nights. Oh, I know this is important to you. And if it's going to help you, I can go on like this for another few months or even another year. But when you get back from San Francisco, let's arrange our lives like human beings. You can open up an office and have regular hours, specialized.
If I work with Hochberg, darling, I won't have time to practice.
That's just it. I know hockey. I'll never see you.
Laura, look, I've plugged all my life just in the hope that someday I'd have a chance to work with a man like Hochberg.
I couldn't go on this way. I just couldn't. I'd rather break off now and try to forget.
Laura, don't even say a thing like that.
I mean it. It would kill me, but I'd rather die quickly than by slow torture. I can't.
Oh, Laura, please. Don't.
It's all right. Leave me alone. I'm all right. I'll take you back to the hospital.
Will I see you tomorrow night?
Yes. Think it over, George. We'll have to come to some decision.
Laura, will you please?
I mean it.
Okay. Those whistles. Why don't they stop with those rotten whistles?
Make the rounds as the hospital night begins now. The nurses on night watch check their charts. Silence in the long corridors. And in the wards, the faint smell of pain. And a quiet weeping in the darkness until the patient finally accepts the ancient therapy of sleep. And the hospital night goes on.
Dr. Ferguson? Dr. Ferguson?
What is it, nurse?
The little girl in bed 4. Dr. Cunningham's with her, and, well, you said she wasn't to have insulin, but he insisted.
Let's go, quick.
Yes. I told you to hurry with that insulin. No. Hello, Ferguson. Hurry, nurse.
How is she, Dr. Cunningham? I was afraid of shock.
This isn't shock. It's a diabetic coma.
Is her temperature subnormal?
Yes. Isn't that ready yet, nurse?
Dr. Cunningham, now, I mean no offense, but I've studied this case history, sir, and it looks like shock, not coma.
Nonsense.
Now, look at the child, please, sir. She's cold, pale, clammy. Temperature is subnormal. She's complained of hunger, sudden onset.
Suppose you let me handle this case, young man. Nurse, let's have that
No,
hypo.
please, doctor, call in one of the other men. Ask him. Ask anybody.
Take your hand off my arm.
I'm not going to let you kill that kid.
How dare you interrupt when I'm treating my patient? Get out of here. Here, what's the idea of knocking that needle out of my hand? You
All right,
young
nurse. Shock position. Get the foot of that bed up. Still glucose. Quick. 30cc syringe.
It's all right.
What do you think you're doing?
Quiet tourniquet. Right arm. I need a hypo of adrenaline.
What do you think you're doing? I'll have you brought up before the medical board. You can't.
All right, have me brought up. I don't care. I really don't. Pardon me.
Look here, Ferguson. I can have you.
Have the glucose. Swab the arm. Never mind the iodine, just alcohol. Thank God, a good vein. That does it. Have the adrenaline. There. That's about all we can do.
You report downstairs, Ferguson.
Yes, sir?
Never dare interfere in any of my cases again. Well, I'll be at my home if you leave me, Gus.
I'm still here. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. It's a pretty kid, isn't she?
I was scared we were going to lose her.
Yeah. Hair like Laura's.
What, Doctor?
Nothing. When you clean up those hypos, take the tray out here.
Yes.
Watch it, you. Now you wake her. Matter.
Sorry. I was just nervous, I guess.
What's your name?
Barbara Denham?
Take my advice, Barbara. I know just how you feel. You get as far away from here as you can tonight. Have a good time. Relax. Forget the hospital.
Well, I can't. I have an exam in Materia Medica tomorrow.
Materia Med. Mm-hmm. Say, I think I have some notes that may help you. I'll leave them with the orderly on the first floor.
Oh, thanks.
You won't have to cram all night anyway. Miss Denham, if the child's temperature goes below normal, will you call me? I'll be in.
All night?
Yes, all night.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. All right, that's all.
And the hospital night goes on. In the emergency ward, a young man sits holding his broken head. In the delivery room, a woman moans softly and bites the sheets. Somewhere an ambulance bell clangs in the night. Silence in the long corridors.
Dr. Fox?
Yes? Oh, hello, Dr. Levine.
I was just going into the path lab to find out about that report.
I'll go with you.
Thanks.
Is the report on Levine ready?
Have it for you in a minute.
Fine. You said this was your wife?
Yes, poor Catherine. Things were different when I was here before I married. Who could imagine practice on the Lower East Side, tenements, 50-cent patients, poverty, dirt, and struggle? I don't know. All of a sudden, you feel old. Your life's gone. Medicine. Why do we kill ourselves for it?
I often wonder myself whether it's worth the grind of working my way through school and interning. That's 10 years out of my life. Still, I guess it's the only thing I really want to do. My dad used to say, above all is humanity. He was a fine man. He was a small-town physician upstate. And when I was about 13, he came to my room one night and apologized because he was going to die. And his heart had gone bad on him. And he knew that if he gave up medicine and took it easy, he could live for 20 years. But he didn't. Above all is humanity. And that's why we do it, I guess.
Of course. It's no good. A doctor shouldn't have to worry about money. That's one disease he's not trained to fight. It either corrupts him or it destroys him.
Dr. Ferguson, here it is.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Let me see.
Oh.
I knew it. I knew
I
it.
wish I could tell you how sorry I am.
Tuberculosis. Oh, my poor Catherine. What are we going to do now?
She'll come through all right, sir. You see, maybe if you took her to a dry climate.
Maybe that means giving up the little practice I have. It means starting all over again. I don't know if we can do it. We're not young any longer. Thanks, Larry.
Yes, sir.
And the hospital night goes on. Silence in the long corridors.
Hello, Miss Hudson there. Dr. Ferguson calling. Yeah. Hello, Laura? Look, darling, I can make it tonight after all. I know I was waiting for the transfusion, but the patient's dead 10 minutes ago. What? Well, don't be silly, darling. We'll work that out. We'll find... Well, it's so far away yet. Why talk? Listen, Laura, the chance to work with Hochberg is the best break I've ever had. You don't expect me to throw it over. Just... Laura, I don't want to even talk about it tonight. I'm tired. It's been a stinking day. 6 operations. Well, I can't think. I can't make an important decision tonight in a minute. Laura, what are you trying to do? Punish me? All right, Laura. Goodbye. Come in. Come in. What the...
I know I'm not supposed to be in your room, but... Well, I saw the light on, and... I came for those notes.
No? Oh. Yeah, Denon. I forgot. Stupid of me. Let's see. What was it? Materia Medica?
Yes.
I had them here someplace.
I suppose I shouldn't have come in, but...
Histology. I had them here.
I hope nobody saw me.
Materia Medica. Here, there you are.
Thanks.
Now, that's all. I hope there's some help.
Is there anything wrong?
What? No. Good night.
Good night.
What's the matter?
Head nurse outside.
Did she see you? Wait a minute. She'll be going. Sit down.
Thanks.
I'm kind of jumping myself. I was waiting around to give a transfusion. The chap died. Miss Levine's wife's going to die. It's been a rotten night.
You work very hard, don't you? Oh, I think it was wonderful the way you were before with Cunningham. Oh, it's funny how different it is from the way you picture it. Well, the hospital, I mean, it seems so glamorous when you go into training and, well, then you never think how lonely it is.
I guess the coast is clear now.
They don't let you rest a minute, do they?
Oh.
It's almost as bad for us. You work all day and lights out at 10 o'clock, and one night a week they let us out till 12:30. What's the use? You never get the time to meet anybody.
I know.
Don't you get sick sometimes of being businesslike and efficient? Well, don't you get kind of lonely? I do. Oh, sometimes I just feel like a little girl. I don't want to think. I just want somebody to hold me and tell me everything's going to be all right.
About these notes.
Would you kiss me if I asked you?
The diagrams go with this page.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's just that... Oh, suddenly I wanted very much to have you kiss me.
Barbara. I shouldn't have done that.
Oh, no. It was very nice. You get to feel so lonely. Everywhere. In the wards and in your rooms. It's always so. Hold me. Please.
Barbara. Oh, you poor kid. Barbara, darling.
The Thruway Mall merchants have a sunny surprise for you. Stop into any store in the Thruway Mall and register to win a trip for 4 to Disney World, Florida. There's no purchase necessary, and the winner will be announced Monday, April 4th. Flight arrangements are with Eastern Airlines, America's favorite way to fly. Eastern serves more Florida cities than any other airline. Get in on all the fun at the Thruway Mall in Cheektowaga, New York. Take the Walden Avenue West exit off the Thruway from the Peace Bridge.
Be sure to see the China Painting Show Thursday at the Thruway Mall.
You're listening to FM 105.7, CHRE.
And now the curtain rises on the second act of Men in White, starring Burgess Meredith and Marcia Hunt, and featuring Herbert Berghoff and Augusta Dabney.
Hello, Doctor. Hochberg, are you busy?
Hello, George. Come in. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing special. I just want to talk to you, that's all.
How's Laura?
Fine. I don't know. I'm seeing her tonight. Hockey, what I wanted to talk to you about, last night
Too bad about that patient dying. And Levine's wife. They told me down in the lab.
Yeah.
That's some night, huh?
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Something happened last night, Hockey. I don't know what was wrong with me. I had a fight with Laura, you know, and everything seemed to be going to pieces. And I was in my room, and this nurse came in to borrow some notes. I know it's against the rules. She was lonely, and I guess I was lonely myself. And we...
Have a cigarette?
No, Hockey, I don't want...
Sit down, George. Listen to me. Our hospital is a tough place. We're under pressure all the time. Nervous tension building up inside. And the human being is a curious thing. Under pressure, we do strange and illogical things. Impulse is also a part of human behavior, my boy. We've got to control it. I don't know what you want to say to me, George. I hope you decide not to say it.
I feel like such a fool, such a stupid...
No different from everyone else, huh? I know. Believe me.
No.
You feel like you are a merry-go-round. Everything goes in circles. You have to know what's solid, what's rooted into the ground. Well, with you it's your work, no? And Laura, you love her, don't you?
Yes.
That's solid, George. When everything else begins to shake a little, hold fast to that. You're going to see Laura tonight, huh?
Yeah.
So don't stand here schmoozing. Go.
Look at that one, George. That tugboat coming up the river, like a fat little boy marching in a parade.
Yeah. But when you really stop to listen, there are 100 different sounds, and yet somehow I always think of it here by the harbor as very quiet.
George, it's not as though I was asking you to give up studying. You can have your year in San Francisco. I spoke to Father. He'd like to give us that year in San Francisco as a wedding present.
No, I
George,
can't.
please don't be angry. It would be wonderful for Father if he could help us be happy. It would mean so much. I can't keep on. I just want to... Darling, I want us to be married. Shut me up, will you? Kiss me or something before I begin to act like a dope.
Oh, Laura. Well, Hochberg will understand. We're human.
We could be married in the fall.
Sure we could. Well, what do I tell Hochberg, though? He's counted so much on my coming with him. What do I say?
Say we're young, and we're in love, and we want life to be good. We want it now.
Yes. Hochberg will understand that. Well, he's got to understand. But what does he expect? I'm human. What does he expect?
Are you sure it's all right, George?
Sure.
The hospital library. I thought that was just for doctors.
Doctors and young ladies about to be married. Come on in, Laura.
Oh, it's so hard to believe. It was 3 whole months ago that night we decided to get married. And here it is, almost time. That's wonderful.
A mile off the ground.
George, have you told Hockey yet?
No, I haven't.
It's so long since we decided. Why are you afraid of Hockey? He won't bite you. If you think delaying will change my mind...
No, it isn't that. I just haven't...
Then tell him. Tell him today.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil. Hello, Hockey.
Hello, now, George. That young boy up in 514, automobile accident, smashed legs. You gave him a shot of tetanus antitoxin.
No, I had Johnson covering for me, sir. He took care of it.
Where have you been since 12 o'clock?
I'm sorry. I only meant to be gone half an hour.
In the meantime, it was 2.
Sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
Oh, Hockey, you can forgive him just once. George has been working so terribly hard. After he gets back from San Francisco, maybe we'll have some time for ourselves.
Time? How? There are only 24 hours in the day. He's working with me, and if... Or is he?
Dr. Hochberg, I want a little more out of life than just my work. I don't think that's asking too much.
I see. I see. So you've decided not to come with me next year?
After all, Hockey, we feel that we'd be happier that way. And
Of course. It's George's life and yours. You have a right to decide for yourselves what you're going to do with it. I didn't mean to mill. How's Papa? How's his heart?
so.
Still smokes, I suppose?
When I'm not around.
Well, you'd better get into your uniform, George. We may have to operate shortly. A new case. One of our own nurses. What's her name? That nice little girl up in pediatrics. Oh, yes, Bennett. Barbara Bennett. You remember her, pediatrics.
Yes, I remember her. Excellent nurse.
Poor child. Such a nice little girl, too.
Is it bad?
Temperature 105. Blood count way up.
Ruptured appendix?
Septic poison. As a matter of fact, she was going to have a baby. Well, we'll see what we can do.
Dr. Ferguson,
Yes, nurse?
that boy with the broken legs is still unconscious, up in 514. Seems to be something the matter with his lower jaw.
What?
Somewhat rigid. I thought it might be tetanus.
No, not so soon. Anyway, Johnson gave him antitoxin, didn't he?
Why, no,
What? Doesn't he know yet that TAT shot is routine in this hospital?
Yes, sir, but I thought... You didn't tell me, Dr. Ferguson. I thought you gave it.
Dr. Ferguson?
I intended to say something about it. I forgot.
Forgot. Is that a thing to forget? You should have given the antitoxin yourself.
It's my fault, Hockey. I dragged him away. We were late.
That's no excuse. He's not supposed to leave the hospital at all. You know that, Ferguson.
Yes, sir?
Oh, Hockey, it was important. Terribly important. It was a rehearsal of our wedding.
A rehearsal of your wedding. And upstairs, there's a boy all smashed to bits. There'll be no wedding for him if he develops tetanus. Dr. Ferguson, inject that antitoxin at once.
Yes, sir. Right away. All right, nurse?
Laura, you deserve to be spanked. Don't you realize what George's work means?
Of course I do, Hockey.
No. No, you don't. Would you like to see, perhaps?
Yes. Why not?
Go upstairs to the operating room. Tell them I said to give you a cap and gown. I'll meet you up there in 20 minutes. Yes. Yes. So now, maybe you know.
In the room, a great light hangs low from the ceiling. The operating table shines like new sunlight, and the instruments lie waiting in the room, the white room.
Nurse,
Yes, Dr. Ferguson.
I'm assisting Dr. Hochberg in the Denon operation. How's the patient?
Temperature 106.
Delirious?
She was before. She kept calling for you.
For me?
Yes.
Oh.
In the room, the basins are waiting with alcohol and bichloride, and the doctors perform their curious ritual, washing of hands, simple prayer of sterility, handed down from Semmelweis and Pasteur. The sound of the brush, soap and water, smell of antiseptic, like a cold wind in the room, the white room.
Nurse, sterile towel, please. Gloves. Nurse, why didn't she come to me? Why didn't she tell me? Why did she keep away?
Well, I suppose it was my fault. We roomed together. A long time ago, I saw she was falling for you. I told her you were in love with someone else, engaged to be married, and to keep away from you.
I see. That's why she... See, I thought after that night she'd realize how crazy we'd both been, but she should have told me. She should have told me.
In the room, the white room, we await the ceremony of surgery. The nurses in their white gowns are waiting. The doctors, capped and masked, are waiting. The scalpel is waiting in the room, the white and burning room.
Instruments all ready, sir?
Good. What about that boy up in 513? Did you give him antitetanus?
Yes, sir. He's conscious now.
That business with his jaw?
Slight dislocation. I put it back in place. No further evidence of internal injury.
Very good. Oh, we've got a guest over there in the corner. Laura.
Why? Hockey told me I'd
Watch
come.
it. Don't go near. You're clean. You're full of contamination.
Oh, am I?
All right. Bring the patient in.
George,
Yes?
what are they going to do to me?
There's nothing to be afraid of, Barbara.
You won't let them hurt me?
No, of course not.
Will you be here? George, darling, please be here.
I'll be here.
Thanks, dear. I loved you. I don't care.
All right. Put her on the table. Go on. Start the anesthesia.
George, what was that all about?
Laura, I'm sorry.
George, is it...
Don't touch me. Don't. Please, stand away over there.
Did you... You knew that girl very well, didn't you? Did you?
Yes.
Oh. That's funny. Dr. Ferguson, the patient's ready.
All right, I'm coming.
You want to watch, Miss Hudson? I've got a...
No, thanks. I've had enough. I've had enough.
What's the matter? You feel ill?
No. No, I'm fine. Just let me out of here.
In the room, the white room,
Ready, nurse.
Ready, Dr. Hartford.
You're ready now. All the clocks of Earth tick slowly. Life moves with the swing of the pendulum. And death is a delicate chime waiting to ring the hour.
Ready, Ferguson? Ferguson.
Yes. Ready.
Brian has a serious drinking problem.
Is it part of the hospital?
Brian can't do the things normal kids do. He's different.
Will the doctors and nurses wear masks?
Brian has kidney disease. He needs a transplant. But preventing kidney disease and making transplants requires research which costs money.
Mommy, will I ever be better?
Only you can answer Brian's question. Give to the Kidney Foundation of Canada. Help for the solid business.
You are tuned to FM 105.7, CHRE.
And now the curtain rises on the third act of Men in White, starring Burgess Meredith and Marcia Hunt, and featuring Herbert Berghoff and Augusta Dabney.
May I come in, my boy?
Sure.
How long have you been sitting here in the darkness? It's morning. Beautiful sunlit morning. Here, let's get these shades up.
Oh, I didn't know it was so late. I was reading.
Brain surgery. Huh?
Yes,
Miss Lennon's temperature is down this morning.
I know.
The nurse tells me you watched the case all last night.
Yes.
Excellent book, this. You should read all Cushing's reports.
Oh, that poor kid. What a mess I got into. She'll be thrown out of the hospital.
Oh, don't worry. We'll find something for her.
Doctor, I'm going to marry her if she'll have me.
What about Laura?
I kept calling Laura all last night. She wouldn't come to the phone. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to marry that girl.
I see. You've saved some money then.
Out of what?
And how are you going to take care of her?
I'm going into practice. Well, that girl's human, isn't she? She needs me.
You won't be helping the girl, George. All you can bring her is more misery. You don't love her. It was a mistake. And for that, you want to ruin yourself? The rest of your life? Destroy your ambitions, your ideals? Fill yourself with bitterness? You won't be helping the
No,
girl,
Dr.
George.
Hochberg, please. You know, it's no... I've thought of everything. It doesn't make any difference.
George, go to Laura. Talk to her. Between the two of you...
No.
Please.
No.
Do it for me. I ask you to do it.
No.
All right, George.
I want you to know that I appreciate all that you've done for me.
What have I done?
When I said that I wasn't going to work for you, I must have sounded very ungrateful.
No, it's our instinct to live, to enjoy ourselves, all of us.
I thought about it all night, and I realized that I've thrown away the most important thing that ever happened to me. That would be a chance to work with you.
You still want to? You can if you do.
No, not now.
Why?
I'm going into practice, I told you.
Well, in that case, you're through. Through with all those fine dreams of doing brain surgery or any kind of research. Finished.
All right, then I am. Why not? What good's a profession that can't give you bread and butter after you've sweated out 10 years of your life on it? All right, if I haven't got money to set up practice, I'll find a job at something else. You can have your medicine. I won't starve. I'll always make a living.
So? Well, I'll be going. Try to get some sleep.
Dr. Hochberg. Here. There's a book you loaned me, Cushing's reports. Thank you.
Keep it, please. Good book, yes?
Yeah.
Good man, Cushing. Beautiful brain surgeon. So many miracles.
Hello, Hockey. What brings you to Park Avenue and 80th?
Just checking up on your papa's heart. He smokes too much.
Just try and tell him that.
Laura, I want to talk to you about...
No, Hockey, it's no use. I'm washed up with the whole business.
Of course you are.
There's no excuse for a thing like that, and you know it, Hockey.
I'm not trying to justify it, Laura. It's so far beyond that. Do you think he's having an easy time of it?
Oh, he'll take care of himself.
Don't you think I know how you feel?
Well, you think I still care? Well, I don't.
Well, that's fine. Then it doesn't make any difference to you that right now he's throwing his life away. Yes, he's going to marry her, Laura.
No.
Yes, and go into practice and starve and give up his studies and maybe get out of medicine altogether. The thing he's meant for and worked so hard for.
Oh. But what do you expect me to do about it?
He loves you. Laura. Get that through your head. He loves you. Now, see him. Speak to him, please. If nothing comes of it, all right. But at least face each other. Have it out.
All right, Hockey. All right. I'll see him.
Cigarette, Laura?
Thanks.
The harbor looks nice in the dark. And Hockey tells me you're going to take your father to Florida.
Yes.
I don't want you to go away feeling like this.
Well, what difference does it make how I
A
feel?
great deal to me. I love you.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
Well, I don't care whether you believe it or not, but I do.
George, my arm, you're hurting me.
I'm sorry.
I don't understand. I lay awake all night trying to figure it out. If you cared for me, how could
Well,
you?
I was wrong, Laura. I'm not excusing myself. I was wrong. With everything gone wrong that day, 6 long operations, I had a battle with Cunningham. I lost a patient. Things sort of kept piling up until I thought I'd go crazy. And this kid came to my room for some notes. She was sympathetic and lonely herself, and, well... After that, I didn't see her around, and I knew that the whole thing was crazy. You'd think she'd have come to me, but she didn't. And I thought that it didn't mean very much to her, but it did. And now she's up against it.
If we meant anything at all to each
I
other...
wanted to be with you more than anything else in the world that night, but we'd quarreled and you wouldn't even see me.
It was that night?
Yes.
Oh.
Laura, if I didn't love you, I'd have called it quits right then.
So now you're going to marry a girl you say you don't love. All right, make your beautiful gestures. Marry her.
I'm going to.
You think you're being brave and strong, but you're not. You're doing it because it's the easiest way out. You have no backbone.
Yes, Laura, that's right. I had no backbone when I let myself be talked out of a chance to work with Hockey. But right now, I have no choice. I'm not doing this because I give a lousy hang what anybody thinks or says. I'm doing it because the girl's life is smashed and I'm responsible. And I want to try to help her pick up the pieces and put them together again.
George,
Laura, don't.
I knew how you felt about Hockey. But I shouldn't have insisted. I was selfish because I loved you so much. And I still do.
Better be getting back to the hospital. I've got an operation scheduled.
Of course. Could I have a light, George? My cigarette's gone, huh? Hockey,
Hello, Laura.
Hello, George.
I just ran in for a minute to say goodbye. It may be the last time I see you.
Dr.
before
Hartford, what's the matter?
Miss Glennon is dead.
What?
A few minutes ago.
Oh, no.
There's nothing you can do, George. Embolism. Went into collapse, died instantly.
Oh,
George,
a few hours ago, she was pleading with me for a chance to live.
Stop it, George. These things happen.
Couldn't you do anything, Doctor?
I tried everything. Caffeine intravenously, adrenaline directly into the heart. Useless.
Oh.
That little blood clot in the lung. We are helpless. 40 years I've spent in medicine, and I couldn't help.
And what's the use? What good is it all? Why do we go on? It takes everything from you, and when you need it most, it leaves you helpless. We don't know anything. We're only guessing.
We've been doing a little work on embolism, getting some results. It's slow, but someday...
Someday.
George, there isn't a man in medicine who hasn't said what you've said and meant it for a minute. All of us. And you're right. We are guesses. But at least our guesses today are closer than they were 20 years ago. And 20 years from now, they'll be still closer.
Well, that's funny. That's what my father used to say. It's almost the exact words. And I remember that he used to say, there was so little time in a short life and so easy to get lost, go down the blind alleys. But above all else, he said, above all else is humanity. And words like that stick inside of me. After all the hurt and the death and the bitterness, you still can't forget that there are men like you, Hockey. Like my father. Men who exist for more than yourselves. And in the end, your reward is something richer than simply living. A kind of glory. I know that. I guess I've known that all the time.
Yes. Question as much as we will. When the test comes, we know. Don't we?
Yes. I guess we do.
Well, goodbye, Laura. We'll reduce that fracture at 10, George. Schedule the appendix at 3. The gastric ulcer immediately afterwards. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Darling, George, let's get away from here. Let's go someplace where we can talk this thing over quietly and sanely.
No, Laura. This is where I belong.
Yes. Yes, of course. Well, when you get back from San Francisco, if Hockey will let you off for a night, give me a ring. I'll be around. Dr. Ferguson.
In a minute.
Go ahead, George. Work hard.
Nurse.
Yes, sir?
Let him get that fracture case to the operating room. Hochberg is doing it. I'll assist. We'll use spinal anesthesia.
Goodbye, George.
Goodbye, Laura. All right, nurse. Let's go.
In the darkened corner of the city, where the hospital stands in quiet streets, the great wheel of mercy turns. The days rise up from the sea, and the days are endless.
I swear by Apollo the physician that this mine oath I will fulfill as far as power and discernment shall be mine. Into whatsoever house I shall enter, I will work for the benefit of the sick, holding aloof from all voluntary wrong and corruption. If I shall fulfill this oath and break it not, may the fruits of art and life be mine, and may I be honored by all men for all time.
The Theatre Guild on the Air is under the supervision of Lawrence Langner and Teresa Helburn, with Homer Fickett, director, Carol Irwin, production executive, and Ramina Marshall, executive director of the radio department. Music was composed and conducted by Harold Levy, and the play was adapted by Millard Lampell. Your announcer, Norman Brokenshire.